What is going on, everybody? 41 Jake here. Hope you're having a great day. I want to talk a little bit about something that is getting big, massive in a lot of industries, and I think it's about to hit the 401k world over the next few years. And I want to get ahead of it because I think it's important that you understand this topic. Now, influencer marketing, whether you like it or not, is something that has done it's influenced you, right? You have made decisions, purchasing decisions in your life based on an influencer. Whether you are on social media or not, you've been influenced by others to make a purchase. I want to tell you a story. Now, it's like, what time is it? Almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm still in my running gear. I have not even had a chance to stop and take a shower. I got my big run in this morning. I train here and there with my kids, with some friends. I've got a good neighbor that does a lot of Ironman triathlons, and so he does a Tuesday hill workout, and I joined him for that. It's a 10-mile run with 5 hills in it. It's brutal. It's a beast. Hills don't lie. That's our big thing is when you go and run a hill and you repeat it, man, it tells you everything about the shape you're in. Mentally, it is one of the toughest things to do is to run. We do 5 hills, 3-minute repeats, which is a half mile up because we're running about a 6-minute pace. Boy, I'm telling you, your body wants to do one thing. Your head has to stay in the game and it has to be strong. And it's a good thing. But I got going and I was just on calls all day long. It's been busy, been hectic. I've got a few plans going into blackout. I've got some coming out of blackout. I've got a lot happening. That's why I did that video last week about blackout periods. I hope that was helpful. Today, though, I want to talk about influencer marketing. And the reason I want to do it while I'm still in my gear, I'm wearing Gatorade endurance gear. Now, let me tell you a quick story about something that I did a few years back that was really fun and interesting for me. I became a Instagram I'm not even just Instagram, on social media. I became a influence marketer or influencer in the Gatorade endurance product. So I had a good friend that I know that he was out in California and then he's back east now. He's a really awesome guy. Got me involved in some really fun things, like leading a blind runner in a race. It was a blast. But he was doing this whole ambassador program with Gatorade. And now Gatorade, when you think Gatorade, you think Gatorade at Walmart or Costco or whatever, and like just the plain old Gatorade. This is a different entire division of Gatorade. This is Gatorade Endurance, which is very specific to a certain target market of endurance athletes. So triathletes, marathoners, long distance runners, all those people fall into that category. So the product itself is actually distributed very differently. And it was fun to do for a while because they were trying to toy with some different ideas. And I have mad respect for the product itself. I still use it. I love it. And I'm not getting paid anything to tell you that. I just literally, it's one of the things that I've struggled with for years is nutrition while I run. And when I found their product and it actually worked for me, and I was able to compete the level I wanted to and not feel the sickness that sometimes came from bad nutrition, it was a game changer for me. And so I've stuck with it. And I never would have been introduced to it without my good friend who was an ambassador for Gatorade Endurance. And while I was doing that, we did a big push to basically be races. So when you think about influencer marketing and where you're making your decisions, if you're an athlete, one of the key places where you may start to rethink your nutrition for your events, whether it's a local triathlon or a big triathlon, is at the race itself, especially after the race or before the race when you're kind of in panic mode and you're like, whoa, crap, did I really prepare enough? Do I have what I need on my bike to get me through this race? Or after and you feel like crap and you're like, well, I got to change this up. I got to do something different. It's a really good spot to influence someone to make a good decision. So we did a few races and it was a blast. My kids helped me out. We put all the products out, handed them out and told people how they worked, how to use them. Gave them samples to try to do on their next run or ride. And a lot of people were super pumped about it. The really tough issue that I had was people would come to me and say, well, where can I get it? And not a single store here in Utah was carrying the product. And so the ambassador program wanted me to go to the stores and do the same thing as I was doing at races, but they didn't have their distribution and sales team set up where they actually had the product. So people were like, yeah, give me, I loved it. I want to use more. Where can I get it? But they couldn't go down to the local running store and get it. So they had it online. So it's on Amazon. Everyone's on Amazon. So that worked. but it didn't build a good relationship with the stores where the other people would typically, when they check out their running shoes, get new running shoes, they would buy nutrition too. So ended up kind of changing the program around, and I'm not an ambassador anymore. They just kind of slimmed it down and kind of cut costs and went a different route and kind of went with the online influencer thing. Because when you think about online influencing, you don't necessarily have to be local level. And that's what we were trying to do on a local level, is have someone in different areas geographically. And it totally changed. But what I learned from it was really amazing, because what I found, deciding what you should eat during a marathon is something that is unique and different to everybody. And a lot of times you'll take into account what other people tell you to do, and you're only going to trust the ones that are going to be doing better than you or you train with. Like, you're never going to say, oh, hey, whoever is like way in the back, like, what do you do for race? I want to take what you take. Like, it has to be someone that you look up to leading the way, that's influencing you. So in the 401k space, I think there's a lot of correlation that I learned, good and bad, from this experience working with Gatorade Endurance. I learned that there are a ton of different products. So when I was early in the 401k game, trying to wrap my head around all the different ways you could put a plan together was mind-blowing. I mean, you can do bundled, unbundled. You can do completely tech-based. You can have the full-fledged, big, thick handbooks you hand out, enrollment kits. I mean, there are so many ways you can piece together a 401k. You can do it with a brokerage account and just a TPA. You can do, and there's so much flexibility to actually satisfy, excuse me, the rules around 401k setup and an operation. There's not just one way. So what's fascinating is that you have people all over the country selling 401k plans, right? They're not only selling that plan to the business owner, there's people selling to the advisors, influencing them on which product they should use. You've got TPAs that are influencing those advisors, those end salespeople, on which plan designs or how to go about this structure to set up this plan for this company. You've got mutual fund companies that are influencing different products that are being developed, that are changing pricing, that is like sometimes really muddy and confusing. One of the most insane parts of the 401k industry is the amount of spend from a record keeper to a TPA, and some of them pass it through, most of them do, and some don't. Like, there are certain things that just took some time to really understand and get my head and fully understand what was the best thing for my client. Because in the end, as the advisor, you should be the one working for the client. It shouldn't be reversed, where you're coming in presenting to them one product because you were influenced by that one person that you think, this is awesome, I want everybody to use it. I love Gatorade Endurance, but it doesn't work for everybody. My buddy that trains for Ironmans and is like really one of the most high elite guys around here, he does his own thing. He doesn't use Gatorade. He doesn't want any of that stuff. He has his own way. He's got his own nutrition that he's figured out over years of his own people of his own influencers. So the fascinating part about that is, as an advisor, you have one of the most important influencing positions to influence a business to go a certain direction. Now, whether that direction is right or wrong, they're not going to know, because they're not the 401k expert. You are. So your advice, your support to a certain decision is going to go a long way. When I was early in my career, I remember one of my first meetings, the CFO kept asking me, well, which one do you recommend? And I danced around the question. I was like, well, this one's good for the integration with payroll, but this one would be better from a service standpoint. And this one has a way better online tool to help the participants succeed in retirement. I didn't just come out and say, you should go here. This is what I recommend because I understand you and I understand them. I'm telling you, this is the best fit for you. Try this. Because I was too scared that if it was wrong, I didn't want my name to be behind that decision. I didn't have enough confidence in myself and my service and my influence in that whole decision to just come out and say, go here. So you, as an advisor, need to take a second and more than a second, you need to take some real time and some real thoughts and some due diligence on how you're going to determine which products you're going to influence people to buy and use, and have enough confidence in yourself to say, this is the right way and this is why. And if you get fired for standing behind what you believe is best for that client, live with it. I mean, live with it. Don't be so scared that you're going to lose the business that you do the wrong thing for the client because they think they want this. Because guess what? They were influenced by another something else somewhere in the past, or a friend or somebody that doesn't know all that much about them or the 401k business, and influenced them to push you that direction, and you backed off. So don't back off. I love Gatorade Endurance. It works for me, but I tell people, I ask them first, what do you do for your endurance training? What do you do for your nutrition in your marathon? Oh, I eat a banana. Okay, that's probably not enough. You should try this. If it doesn't work, fine, but at least I want you to know it works for me and it might work for you. Shoot, give it a try. In the 401k space, have enough guts to stand up for what you believe for that client is the best, and don't be afraid to say it just because you might lose the business. Stop hiding it too. I've had enough of this. We have this secret way we're going to put this plan together. Guess what? When you go to get a bid, the HR manager or the CFO has probably asked a few different people to get bids, and they're going to go to the same place and come back with the same numbers. You don't have any advantage when you come in with the same bids and numbers. Your only advantage is the value you're going to provide. And the value you can provide is being an expert and to stand up for what you believe for them is best. And to work through those problems, to become the best partner for their company, and to really essentially become a part of their team. And that is going to involve multiple changes over the years. If you think you're going to pick up a new plan, a startup plan, and leave it the same spot from the very first time they set up a plan 20 years from now or 10 years from now, you are completely lost if you think that's going to be the case, because you're going to go through changes. You're going to go through so many different reviews that there's probably going to be a TPA change, a record keeper change. There's better be fun changes as this market evolves. And if you don't have the guts to stand by what you believe and really stick your neck out, you're not valuable and you're not an influencer. So be an influencer. Now, let's take a step back from, I had my little soapbox about standing by what you believe. Let's talk about influencer marketing for a second in the 401k space. All right, we've seen influencer marketing. I want to define that. That's where, you go online and somebody reviews something. It's been around forever. Influencer marketing is not new. It's now just more prevalent because we spend more time on our phones. How many of us look at Yelp or Google as a source of, hey, this review, this restaurant has great reviews, so we better go there. It has 1,000 versus this one only has 5. This one with 5 could be awesome, but you don't know that. You're going to go with the one that's the safe bet that has 1,000 5 stars. So influencer marketing is key, and it's not even happening yet in the 401k space. We're all too scared to stick our necks out there and talk about some of the things that we're doing in the space and become that influencer. And I think the big reason is we understand. I think that 401ks change, and sometimes the recommendation, we have to kind of be careful with compliance. So you can't come out and say, this is the best thing that's ever happened in the 401k space, you should try it. But you can come out and say, this solved this problem for this type of client. If you're in that boat, it might be something you should take a look at. I would recommend you take a look at that. If you want to talk about it, reach out to me. I'd love to discuss your personal situation, your plan with you. And you're going to start to build trust in people that are watching you from afar that you didn't even know you were reaching out to. The amount of reach, organic reach still available on LinkedIn is incredible, but it's not gonna grow, and it's not gonna develop into anything if you're just reposting or resharing news articles or interesting facts or CARES Act details. You have to do more than that. You have to be willing to share more than that, even things that possibly could help your competition. Because the 401k space, you may think is a large space, but boy, when you really get to know the community, it's small. And if you're scared that if you put out one of your best ideas out there on the market, on the internet, that someone's going to steal it, you've already lost. Put it out there. What do you care? The chances of someone taking your good idea and executing on it are so small, they can do their own thing. But the chances of an HR manager or CFO or somebody else in a business seeing something about that and seeing, wow, like that's a pretty good, cool idea. I'm glad he put that out there. I'm glad I heard that. It will influence them, and it will start to maybe open up some conversations with their current plan advisor and maybe create an opportunity where you can come in and talk to them. You just don't know. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and become an influencer yourself. even if you hate that whole concept, do it in your own way. Don't do it like, people that are doing it just to be getting affiliate marketing money or paid to be, hey, this is a really cool product, you should use it, getting paid to say that. Only do it with actual things you believe in. And hopefully things that you're not really getting paid directly to say or bring out. I think that's key as well. So I don't think influencer marketing is too far off in the 401k space. I think we're going to see a lot more of it. We're going to see a lot more transparency. Even though the fiduciary rule isn't a thing right now, I think we're going to keep seeing more of what is going on behind the scenes, because there is new technology that's improving the space, and there's just so many good things happening in the 401k space. I am so pumped about it because it's been needed for a long time. Most of us are still using systems that were built over 20 years ago. We log into systems that are so ancient and so old behind the scenes that we don't know any different. We just probably don't even log in ourselves, so we just don't worry about it. But I'm really pumped because most people, their first introduction to investments is their 401k. That's why I get so pumped, because most people have had this account. Way more people than have had a brokerage account or an IRA. Like, your 401k is that first introduction. And it's a great opportunity to get someone set up into the right direction, on the right foot, really early on in their career. So, all right. So while I wrap this up, I want to give 3 key things to do to become better at influencing others to make good decisions in the 401k space. Okay, I'm going to go about it from 2 angles. First, the advisor. If you're an advisor, number 1, set up your profile in at least 3 social media platforms. You're probably on LinkedIn. Spend some time really getting your profile up to date. Make sure you have a new photo. Change it out regularly. Make sure that your about section is updated and is more than just this one sentence something or other. Your title, your headline should not be your actual job title. No one cares. I'm a vice president. Who cares? Put that title as what you actually do. Okay? So then do 2 others. I highly recommend looking at Instagram and honestly TikTok. I mean, TikTok is just blowing up crazy fast, and it's a little bit different, but it is highly addicting. People are going to find you because they spend hours a day on there. So be careful. Once you go on TikTok, you've got to be careful. I would check that out. But do this, at least be in 3 places, and then dedicate some time each week to at least post there. At least 1 post a day on one of the platforms. If you can just start there, I mean, that's not hard. Take 1 picture, make 1 quick video. Just share something. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. People are going to say stuff. That's great. Who cares? Be you. Be authentic. And just be consistent. Okay? Second step. Really, really understand the partners that you've chosen to recommend. Like, don't just high-level lunch, talk to the wholesaler. Dig deeper into the company and know actually who you're dealing with. Know what their real goals and objectives are as a company and kind of their history and where they're going. So, good example, I work a lot with Voya and Vanguard. And the reason is I spent some time. I went to Voya's office. I spent some real time understanding their organization, their structure, their sales structure, their product, their service model. I mean, I've got to know all the people that help me on my accounts. I went really, really deep before I ever put an account there. I did the same with Vanguard. I haven't been to their office, but I've spent a lot of time and I've given a lot of feedback, honestly. And I'm not a huge, massive player, but I give them some feedback. Hey, and they've improved and they took it very serious. The best part about working with Vanguard, honestly, is that I gave them feedback and they wanted to jump on a call and dive deeper. If you find a partner like that, a service partner that wants to know and understand where they're not shining and where they're not winning, that's big. That's something to learn from. When you get a complaint from a client about something, put extra effort in. I mean, that is the best thing where you could learn the most. Okay, and number 3, just find a way to put your personality in what you do. So I think the key to this is you can't make every decision based on revenue. Making this YouTube video makes me zero money. It takes time. It takes effort. I don't put a tremendous amount of planning, and I don't put these big flashy presentations, and I'm not out doing vlogging yet. But I've been thinking about what I want to talk about for a couple days. When I have downtime, I'm thinking about, you know what, this would really help someone, so I'm going to talk about that. Figure out how to be you, and don't just do stuff because you can get paid to do it. Be you. And money's not everything. So you got to have a little deeper why. Okay, on the flip side of that, 3 things for wholesalers. Number 1, wholesalers, you spend some real deep time with your compliance team first and foremost. Like, if they just tell you no to everything, dig deeper, push harder, maybe you need to switch companies. Because if they won't let you do a single post, even personally, I don't know if I'd stick around. Because social media is not some fad. It's not just going to be around for a little bit. It's not just for kids. Like, being online is where everybody is. Online is the world we live in now, even more than ever with coronavirus. So you need to figure out how to navigate the rules your compliance team gives you, and don't be afraid to push it. And you have to know that by being you, you might get a little bit of pushback from people that don't believe in it, or like to be secret and like to hide and like to not be visual, but you have to be visual. You're in the sales space. How's an advisor supposed to find you? He can't go to lunch with you right now. Get online, figure out how to do it. Number 2, help advisors no matter what the outcome of that specific situation is. If you get a question and you know there's no chance you're going to get it, so what? How on earth do you expect them to come back to you if you won't even help them with that little question? You got to get over this fear of like, I'm not going to give away free help to someone that's not going to bring business to me. You don't know down the road. Those wholesalers that have written me off because I didn't give them the first deal that came their way, I don't go back to them. You have to get over that. Like, you have to figure out how you're going to help people and get over the fact that maybe you're not going to win that business right away. And maybe they're not going to fully trust you. You have to build that trust just like they're trying to do with their client. Right? Number 3, just be straight with people. So I get a lot of wholesalers that are two-faced, and that drives me insane, and I try not to do that. And all of us, I think, to some degree, have had moments where we've been that way. But just have character and know that the 401k world is pretty small. And when you're bad-mouthing people just to badmouth them, like just for conversation, like that's different than if you want to talk about maybe how their strategy in your mind doesn't work. I'm fine with that. Give people feedback and talk about it. Say like, 41J, he's an idiot. He thinks YouTube's going to like actually help him. Great. Let's debate it. Let's talk about it. I love that. But you want to just say, 41, he's just an idiot because he's wearing a hat and he's not in a suit and tie. Like, so what? So just don't be a two-face. If you have an issue with how someone does something, whether they're a wholesaler or an advisor or something, whatever, just be upfront with people. Like, don't beat around the bush and like be all happy and nice because you think maybe you'll get some business. Like, just be authentic and be you, and you will go places you never thought possible. There are some amazing people I've met in this space, in the 401k space, and there's so many I don't know that I can't wait to get to know. And the more authentic you can be and the more real, I think the better. Like, just do that. So those are my tips. To be a good influencer, you got to be you. You got to get out. You got to get over your fear of video. You got to do it because we are spending more time looking at this than ever. We're listening to podcasts. We're listening to different videos. We're watching them. Put yourself out there and stick behind what you believe. And it very well may change. And when it does, talk about it and explain why it changed. Don't hide. Let's not go down this politician game. Well, flip-flop crap. Who cares? Life changes, so do 401ks. So when they change, talk about the change and why it makes sense. If you were so against tech-based solutions, bundled solutions, and then you've changed your mind, talk about it and share it. Document the process of going through that decision that this is okay now, and here's why. All right, that's all I got about influencer marketing. I think the 401k space is ripe for it. I want you to become an influencer. I want you to do its best because guess what? In the end, we are impacting the lives of literally millions of Americans who are getting hit from multiple angles telling them that their 401k sucks and it's not going to work. I'm telling you it can. When you work hard and you start early with your 401k, it can be a successful component to your retirement. But if you ignore it early and you listen and they listen to the wrong opinions and the wrong influencers, they're not going to be successful. When all of a sudden they realize at 40 years old that their 401k would have been a success if they started when they were 20, it's too late. We got to change. We got to change it. We got to make this industry better. We got to become better. And it's only going to start with the actual people influencing the decisions being made. That's all I got. Have a wonderful, what day is it? Tuesday? Have a wonderful Tuesday, everybody. Stay safe. I'll be back on Thursday. Take care.